When you think about your body's most important organs, what comes to mind? Probably the heart, right? Or the brain. They seem to get all the glory. But today we're going to make the case for a different MVP, the liver. Seriously, this thing works so hard, it makes every other organ look like it's on a permanent beach vacation.
And I'm not kidding. It's literally a heavyweight. We're talking about the largest internal organ in your body, tipping the scales at about 1.5 kilograms. That's around 3 pounds. That is a serious piece of biological machinery. And believe me, it puts every single ounce to work, keeping you alive.
So, how do you even begin to wrap your head around what the liver does? Well, the best way is to picture this huge, nonstop industrial complex inside you. It's part factory, churning out essential chemicals, part processing plant, filtering out all the junk, and part storehouse, holding on to vital nutrients. And the craziest part? It never clocks out. 24/7, 365. And look, the stakes here could not be higher. This isn't just some helpful organ we can maybe live without. No, it is absolutely critical. Without the liver's constant, tireless work, all the other systems in your body would just grind to a halt. It's completely, utterly indispensable. Okay, so if it's a factory, what are the main jobs on the factory floor? I mean, what does the liver actually do that makes it so essential? Let's dive in and take a look at its main responsibilities. All right, check this out. One of the most unique things about the liver is how it gets its supplies. It has this brilliant dual blood supply system. First, you've got the hepatic artery, bringing in fresh, oxygen-rich blood from the heart. Think of that as the electricity powering the factory. Then, at the same time, the hepatic portal vein delivers nutrient-rich blood straight from your digestive system. That's all the raw material it needs to process. So, once all that blood arrives, the real work begins. The filtering process kicks into high gear. First, it sorts through all the nutrients from the food you just ate, breaking them down into usable energy. Then, and this is crucial, if it finds anything harmful, we're talking toxins from alcohol, stuff from medications, it neutralizes them, converting them into harmless substances. And finally, it sends that clean, processed blood back out to the rest of the body. It really is the ultimate quality control center. But wait, the liver doesn't just filter stuff out. It's also a manufacturing hub. It's busy producing vital proteins for your blood plasma, creating the cholesterol your body needs to make hormones, and synthesizing substances that are absolutely essential for blood clotting. Oh, and one of its star products? Bile. That's a critical fluid that helps you digest fats. Without it, you'd be in big trouble. Okay, so we know what this amazing factory does. But where exactly is it located? Let's pull up the blueprints of the body and find out. You'll find it tucked away really securely in the upper right part of your abdomen. It's just underneath your diaphragm and protected by your rib cage. And that location is no accident. It's positioned perfectly to get that first pass at all the nutrient-rich blood coming straight from your digestive system. Now, what's interesting is that it has two very different surfaces. The top surface, the diaphragmatic one, is super smooth and sits right up against the diaphragm. But the bottom, or visceral surface, well, that's a lot more complex. It's kind of molded around the other organs it touches, like the stomach, the intestines, and the right kidney. All right, time to get our security clearance. Let's head inside the factory itself and take a closer look at the internal layout of this incredible processing hub. Okay, this is a really fascinating detail. From the outside, you'd look at the liver and say, okay, it's got 4 main lobes. But for a surgeon, that's not the whole story. To them, it's actually divided into 8 functionally independent segments. Each segment has its own blood supply and its own drainage system. Why does that matter? It means a surgeon can actually remove one whole segment without shutting down the others. It's like having 8 mini factories all running inside one big one. Incredible, right? So where's the main entrance and exit for all this activity? It's a place called the porta hepatis. The best way to think about it is like the liver's central gateway, or maybe its main shipping and receiving dock. Pretty much every important vessel, duct, and nerve has to pass through this one critical spot. So what kind of traffic are we talking about here? Well, coming in, you've got those 2 big blood vessels we talked about, the hepatic portal vein and hepatic artery, plus a whole network of nerves. And heading out, you've got the common hepatic duct, which is carrying away all that bile it just made. And you've got lymph nodes, which are part of the immune system. It is a constant, bustling hub of activity. Now you can imagine a structure this large and this important can't just be floating around in there. So let's take a look at the body's support and security systems that keep it protected and anchored right where it needs to be.
For starters, the liver is basically double wrapped for protection. It's got this tough, fibrous inner layer, the tunica fibrosa. And then on top of that, there's a slick outer membrane called the visceral peritoneum. That slick outer layer is super important because it reduces friction, letting the liver glide smoothly against other organs whenever you breathe or move around.
But here's a cool exception. There's one spot on the liver that isn't covered by that slick membrane. It's literally called the bare area. And it's bare for a very important reason. This is the spot where the liver is in direct contact with the diaphragm. It creates a strong anchor point that helps hold the whole organ securely in place.
And it's not just that one anchor point. There's a whole series of ligaments that act like suspension cables, holding the liver steady. They connect it to the diaphragm, the abdominal wall, all over. And one of the most interesting ones for sure is the round ligament. This thing connects all the way to your navel. It's actually a remnant of the umbilical vein from when you were a fetus. How cool is that?
So when you put it all together, its functions, its location, its internal structure, one thing becomes crystal clear. The liver isn't just another organ. It is a truly irreplaceable asset for our survival.
And if you want to understand the sheer scale of its workload, just think about this. At any given moment, right now, this single organ is holding and actively processing about 13% of your body's entire blood supply. Just let that sink in. One organ handling that much volume all day, every day.
And that brings us right back to our main idea. The liver is the one factory inside you that we simply cannot afford to shut down. Its continuous, non-stop operation is directly, fundamentally tied to your life and your health. So we've gone through the incredible complexity and the vital importance of this powerhouse organ, which really just leaves us with one final and maybe the most important question of all. Given everything it does for you, day in and day out, how are you maintaining your factory?